Have you ever wondered who the richest people throughout history are? You're not alone. While money doesn't define us all, it certainly can help define a person's wealth and power. Today, it's easy to look up the wealthiest people on the internet, but what about those individuals who were around centuries before we had that luxury? Their stories of success, innovation, and sometimes even scandal have inspired and fascinated us for generations. Continue watching the video till the end. But before we start, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for updates on all our videos. Number 7. Alan Rufus. Alan Rufus, also known as Alan the Red, was a nobleman who lived in the 11th century in England. He was the nephew of William the Conqueror, who led the Norman conquest of England in 1066. Rufus was granted a large estate in England, which included over 250 manors, after participating in the conquest. His net worth at the time was estimated to be around $194 billion. Rufus was considered one of the wealthiest men in England during his time, and was a significant figure in English history. He was known for his patronage of monasteries and his military prowess. Rufus also served as a high-ranking advisor to King William II of England, who was his cousin. Despite his wealth and status, Rufus was known to be a humble and generous man who used his wealth to benefit others. Today, Alan Rufus is not as well known as some of the other figures on the list, but his wealth and influence in medieval England cannot be underestimated. He serves as an example of the power and wealth that nobility could hold during the Middle Ages. Number 6. John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller is not only the wealthiest person in U.S. history, but also the world's first billionaire. Born in 1839, Rockefeller was an American industrialist and philanthropist whose immense wealth came from the founding of Standard Oil, an oil refinery business. Persistent and ambitious, he gained a monopoly on the industry by buying out all his competition. This enabled him to set price points and control supply, strategies that allowed Standard Oil to become so successful that his estimated net worth in 1918 was US $340 billion. Rockefeller also made wise investments in banking, railroads, and real estate, which further contributed to his wealth. He spent much of his fortune on charities and foundations that helped create some of America's best-known philanthropic institutions, such as the University of Chicago. Number 5. Andrew Carnegie. Andrew Carnegie was an industrialist whose wealth was built on the production of steel and other commodities in the 19th century. Carnegie's entrepreneurial and business acumen led to him becoming one of the wealthiest people in history, with an estimated wealth valued at $372 billion. But Andrew Carnegie wasn't just a successful businessman. He was also a passionate philanthropist who used his wealth to support educational, medical, and poverty relief initiatives. In fact, it's estimated that by the time he passed away in 1919, he had given away 70% of his fortune. His legacy is still remembered today through institutions such as Carnegie Mellon University, which was established only 2 years after his death. Andrew Carnegie remains an inspiration for business owners and entrepreneurs who want to use their success to make a positive impact on society. Number 4. Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa was the emperor of the Mali Empire in the 14th century and is widely considered to be the richest person in history. According to estimates, his net worth was around $400 billion, which would make him significantly wealthier than modern-day billionaires such as Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Musa was a devout Muslim and went on a pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. He famously traveled with a caravan of thousands of people and brought with him an incredible amount of gold. Accounts of his pilgrimage describe how he distributed so much gold to the people he met along the way that the value of the metal in Egypt, where he passed through, was reportedly devalued for years afterward. Musa's wealth was largely due to the vast reserves of gold and salt in the Mali Empire, which he controlled. He was known for his extravagant spending, reportedly giving away so much gold during his pilgrimage that he single-handedly caused an inflation crisis in the regions he passed through. Nevertheless, he was highly respected for his religious piety and his patronage of scholarship and the arts. Number 3. King Solomon. King Solomon is known as one of the wealthiest people in history. He ruled the Kingdom of Israel during the 10th century BCE, and his wealth was legendary. According to the Bible, Solomon's annual income was around 25 tons of gold, which in today's value would be over US $2.2 trillion. He also possessed great wisdom, and his kingdom was renowned for its prosperity and trade. Solomon's wealth was not only based on his vast amounts of gold, but also on his shrewdness as a trader. He had trade relations with other nations and kingdoms, including the legendary land of Ophir, which was rich in gold, silver, precious stones, and exotic goods. Solomon was able to control the trade routes and monopolize certain products, which helped increase his wealth. His grand palace in Jerusalem was also a testament to his wealth and power. It was adorned with gold, silver, and precious stones, and contained lavish gardens, pools, and courts. Solomon's wealth was a source of envy for other rulers and leaders, and his fame as the richest man in the world has endured throughout history. Number 2. Akbar I. You may not have heard of Akbar I, but he was one of the most powerful emperors in history. He was the third Mughal emperor and ruled from 1556 to 1605. During his reign, he unified the Indian subcontinent and expanded his empire to its greatest size. He also accumulated the largest fortune of any world leader at that time, estimated to be around $21 trillion. Akbar was widely known for not just being a great leader, but also being a generous person. He made donations to charities and gave generous gifts to those who sought his favor. He also funded many public works such as roads and canals, as well as educational facilities for children and adults alike. Despite his generosity, Akbar was able to amass a fortune through taxation and land grants. One of the main sources of his wealth was jagirs, or land grants, given out by him that allowed certain people to collect tax revenues on their behalf. With such great power came great wealth. It is estimated that Akbar's private wealth reached as high as $18 billion in today's money at its peak. Number 1. Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan, the Mongolian ruler of Khans in the 1200s, is said to have been one of the wealthiest people in history. He was born into a noble family as Temujin, and eventually rose to power after uniting the nomadic tribes in what is now Mongolia. Under his rule, Khans conquered lands stretched from Siberia, across China, and even as far as Central Europe and the Middle East. He is credited with expanding the Mongol Empire to over 11 million square miles, making it one of the largest contiguous land empires ever established. Khan's wealth was predominantly derived from his conquests, which gave him control of large amounts of land and resources. He was also a shrewd businessman, noted for his negotiation tactics in cutting deals with neighboring rulers who wanted to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. As such, he accumulated an immense fortune that historians estimate could be worth up to $120 trillion today. It's clear that throughout history, there have been some incredibly wealthy people. From Alan Rufus to Genghis Khan, the world of the wealthiest has changed over time. However, one thing has remained true. Wealth and power often go hand in hand. Whether it's Alan Rufus's leadership of the Normans in England in 1066, Akbar I's conquest of the Mughal Empire in India in 1562, or John D. Rockefeller's business acumen during the Gilded Age. These individuals remain among some of the wealthiest people ever to live. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.